Hello, class. My name is Dylan Bryant, and I did my research project over Otis Redding and specifically his song "A Change Is Gonna Come." Otis Redding was born in Dawson, Georgia. He was one of six children, and his father, Otis Redding Sr., was also a musician, but then changed to a military official. Um, his early life, he was brought to the music scene and to the entertainment scene fairly quickly. He At age 15, he entered a talent show, and that's pretty much how he was originally discovered as the talent we know today. Um, his inspirations mainly come from the late great Sam Cooke and Little Richard, who were fairly old, but very prominent figures in the Southern music scene at that point in time. And Otis actually got his start by singing background vocals and going on tours with Little Richard. That was his main um, inspiration growing up. So he was a member of a few different groups, the Mighty Panthers and the Bar Claps, uh, and those were basically specific to the state of Georgia, but mainly to the Southern soul and R&B feel and that sort of genre. And he was a background vocalist, dancer, performer, entertainer, songwriter. He's more of a backseat kind of guy, but this is also before he was even 18 years old. Um, by the time he was 19, so just a few years after his little background stint, he paired up with the female artist Zelma Atwood, and they ended up marrying and being associated and giving birth to his first son, Dexter Redding. That is when they moved to LA, where he continued his career, and he he grew from there. Mainly his hit songs, all of the most important ones, were made in Los Angeles after his 18th birthday. So that was when he got sort of his kickstart, sort of solidified his stance in the music scene at this point. Um, Funny enough, when he first started, he was backup vocals with Little Richard and Sam Cooke and Bobby Smith, and eventually, when he became older and became more successful, Bobby Smith and some of those guys ended up starting singing background vocals for him and going on tour with him instead of the other way around. So he kind of took advantage of that and recorded most of his music in the famous Stax studio in Memphis. He became the quote unquote king of the Stax and the king of soul of his time. And funny enough, later down the road, James Brown, who is a very iconic and very familiar name, ended up taking on the king of the soul phrase from Otis Redding after he died tragically at 26 years old. But among all these things about Otis Redding, one really stood out the most, and that was his prominent stance in the civil rights movement. A lot of these artists that we're researching had great songs that rallied the African American population and gave them a purpose and gave them a voice. But Redding actually wrote a lot of songs for various artists during this time period also and had a prominent stance in that. He actually wrote the song Respect by Aretha Franklin for her, and the song went on to be one of the many anthems and one of the most popular, catchiest songs of all time, and really became an anthem of the civil rights movement and is still very relevant today. So this is the exact reason Otis Redding is significant to this world and to this movement.